Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Most Accurate Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Akins. I am joined by my co host, Justin Edwards. We're going to do some streaming chat, some question and answer, try to make heads or tails of what just happened last weekend. Justin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, honestly. Getting into the thick of things here, typing out like week 3. We're looking at like look ahead lines. Week 4, the season is upon us. It feels like a whirlwind until you sit down and have to look at it for a few hours, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to continue this season.
Yeah, it was a lot. A lot of injuries. I feel like we kind of all collectively escaped the devastating season-ending situations over the off season. There was nothing major. Week 1, nothing too bad. Last week, not pretty. A lot of people have lost a lot of fantasy assets for at least a few weeks. Some, closer to 6 to 8, that kind of thing. But we will get through that as we
Yeah.
go. Hopefully, we can find you guys some streamers to get on through. Before we get to next week, first we're going to recap last week's streamers. I will start with the quarterbacks. Not awful. Baker Mayfield, QB4 with 18.8 points. Daniel Jones, QB5 with 18.3. And then Justin Fields, womp womp, QB20, 11.4. Wasn't like I was emphatically suggesting him, but he was in the mix. So Baker and Daniel Jones, not bad, top 5. I can't really complain about that
Right.
from a streaming standpoint. How did your tight ends do, Mr. Edwards?
Oh, it's terrible, and I would feel worse if there were more options going off. But it's like it's a hellscape right now. I thought week 2 would look a little bit better. It really didn't. Colby Parkinson didn't do anything, and this is with Cup leaving the game as well. So now we're looking at Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson, and you got to figure the tight end's going to get involved at some point. He scored 1.7 half PPR points last week, which is, I don't know, the tight end 1 million or something. Isaiah Likely predictably fell back to earth, and I think we kind of touched on that too. We're not expecting him to be getting double-digit targets, maybe even one single more time this season, but he only got 3.5 points. He was the tight end 20. Zach Ertz came through with the tight end 8, and we'll end up talking about him again, but luckily he has some sort of floor in the Commanders offense. It's just, you're not hoping for a top 3 finish out of a guy like that. So a tight end 8, keep you out of the goose egg range. It was fair enough, but outside of that, it was rough again. So we'll persevere.
Listen, at this point, like a 5-point output from your tight end is a good day. So
Right, exactly.
I'm with you
Take it.
there. As far as kickers go, I had a pretty good week. I had 2 kickers in the top 12. Matt Prater was kicker 6. Jake Bates was kicker 12. Cam Little and Joshua Carty were disaster. I will say this. I did not mention on the show because I have to trim it up a little bit, but I did have Austin Siebert in my kicker streaming article, who was the number 1 kicker on the week with 21 points. So I got to toot my own horn there. I was proud of that. I didn't put him on the show though because I had to reduce. So I unfortunately reduced incorrectly. But for the readers that did read the column, hopefully some of you at least picked up Siebert for the Commanders because he busted out a K1 performance. What about your defenses?
They did pretty well. I think we led with the Chargers. The Chargers.
Yeah.
Because of Malik Willis, and then they ran just a beautiful offensive scheme on the other side of the ball. Malik Willis attempted 14 passes. So really, I thought that would be a good floor play, but the Packers came out and they were like, we're not having Malik Willis drop back 45 times, which was smart. So we kind of missed on that one. That's okay. The Seahawks did well. Who did they face? They had the Patriots. So yeah, they were in the backfield, or they were in the pocket the entire game. They only got 3 sacks out of it, but 6 points for your DST is fine. Kind of marginal success outside of that. It was the Colts against the Packers, not the Chargers. Who did the Chargers play?
Panthers?
Oh, the Chargers had the Panthers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was what we led with last week. They put on another double-digit performance in week 2 after scoring 14 in week 1. Then They also get the Steelers this week. So if you picked them up last week, you may as well just keep the Chargers around.
Yeah, the Chargers saved me, and they were my survivor pick. I know a lot of people picked the Ravens. I went with the Chargers, so I am still alive. Happy about that. So that wraps up our last week's streamers. Before we get into this week's streamers and answer your questions, we of course have to do our weird sport of the week. This week we are going to talk about goanna pulling. Goanna pulling was invented in the 19th century to honor Australia's giant lizard named the goanna. Disclaimer: no lizards are involved in the making of this sport / doing of this sport. So contestants tie leather straps around their necks, and they have these little grippy gloves and supportive footwear. They attempt to replicate the lizard's posture and try to pull each other across the line, tug of war style. Listen, as somebody that is getting older in age, my neck hurts on a daily basis.
I was about to say the same thing.
Strapping a leather thing around and pulling neck to neck to try to get each other across the line sounds absolutely horrendous. Any thoughts on goanna pulling?
Sometimes I tie my shoes and I get like a crink in my neck. So I'm not forcibly pulling another human body with my head. This sounds terrible, actually. I think I would rather do what was the ferret leg that you
Oh, ferret legging, yes.
I'd rather do ferret legging than this.
Wow. That's a bold statement, because ferret legging seems to be extremely uncomfortable for any male out there. Female too, really, but
you just gotta run faster, you know?
Females no, you don't run. You have to just sit and let these ferrets run around your taped pants with no underwear on and let them do their thing. And whoever stays the longest, yeah, there's no running. You're just standing. It's horrible. Anyway, that's goanna pulling. Not for me, but I'm out. I get it. In Australia, they're honoring their giant lizard, and they're enjoying themselves there. All right, let's get to the main subject at hand, which is streamers. Should we take a question or two first before we get into it? You want to do that?
Why don't we knock a couple questions out and then we'll jump into QBs.
Okay. Let's
this
start
one's
with
from Demetrios, if you want to start here.
Yeah, Demetrios Asprogiannis. I think I got it right. Here we go. Okay. You want to know whether to start. Okay, start two running backs. Monty, Gus Bus, Bucky Irving, Jaleel McLaughlin.
I would say Monty and McLaughlin pretty handedly.
Yeah, I mean Monty for sure. That second one. Would
you take Gus Bus over McLaughlin?
No, I don't know. The Broncos are just so bad. And they're on the road in Tampa Bay.
Right.
Irving is at home. Rachaad White is kind of hurt, so I don't know. Irving might not be a horrible pick there either. I say maybe monitor up until Sunday and see if Rachaad White is still questionable or still somewhat hurt, then maybe Irving. I think Gus is out, right? So it's really between Irving and McLaughlin, and we both agree Monty is definite.
Sure.
So, all right, there's that, and then we've got three wide receivers: Tyreek, DK Metcalf, Keon Coleman, Chris Godwin.
I think it's Hill, Metcalf, and Godwin all day.
Yeah, all day. And then Burrow or Stafford.
I'll take Burrow against the Commanders secondary.
10-team non-PPR. Yeah, Stafford is they're in a bad way right now. Their O-line is not great, and they don't have a lot of weapons. So I think it's Burrow by default. I don't love Burrow, but I think on that one you go with him. Yeah?
Yeah. Do you want to take one more before we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Albert says good morning.
Hi, Albert. Good morning to you. It's nice that you obviously live in a place that it's morning too, like me. Okay. Z Smitty, should I trade Neighbors and JK for Bijan? Only thing I'm worried about is I have a lot of receivers on my team, but not a lot of great ones. I have Justin Jefferson, Neighbors, London, Worthy, Thomas, Terry, Amari.
I think I would maybe mess with it, particularly if you need some running back help. Bijan still has an outside chance of being the overall RB1 on the year, especially with CMC out for a long time.
He does indicate his running backs right below. Let's see. He's got Gibbs, Dobbins, Jacobs.
Tank Bigsby and then Nick Chubb in his IR.
Yeah, I don't know who JK is because he already said
J.K.
Dobbins.
Dobbins.
Well, he already said that, but maybe he's just putting them both in the
I think he's
same
just
thing.
reiterating.
I gotcha. Yeah, I don't hate that trade actually, either. Like you said,
Oh,
I
because he
think
said Dobbins and J.K. I see what you're
right.
saying.
That's what
Okay.
I mean. I'm like, I don't know if he's just saying it twice or if JK is somebody else, and I'm not. My brain's
That would
not
be a
rolling
wild
out.
running back room if they went and got Bijan here.
Yeah,
Gibbs,
I'm like,
Robinson, and Jacobs would be a wild running
I
back
mean,
room.
you've got because you've got Jefferson. London was all right last night. I mean, Cousins seems to be coming around off that foot injury. Worthy, Brian Thomas, Terry. I mean, they're like you said, they're not fantastic. They're kind of a lot of receivers that could pop or may not. So, yeah, I don't hate it.
I'd be down with it. I think
Yeah.
you should go for it.
Justin is more enthusiastic than I, but I don't hate it. So there you go. There's your answer. All right, let's get to some streamers first. Let's do some quarterbacks. As I said, I did all right last week, considering quarterback is not maybe necessarily a specialty of mine in this fantasy space. But we're heading into week 3 here, and I have got 3 and a bonus for you guys. The first one, not a surprise to anyone. Well, I guess a surprise overall, but not a surprise right now, and that would be Derek Carr. He is only 19% rostered. I suggest, or I think that's going to change a lot after this week for people that are hurting. So Derek Carr is at home against the Eagles. He has a 77% completion rate. He's thrown 5 touchdowns already. Philadelphia has allowed 4 passing touchdowns already this season, which is tied for the 3rd most. This thing might be a shootout. I think Carr is your guy if you're A, streaming, or B, still trying to replace Jordan Love like myself, who went with Caleb Williams last week, which was a disaster. So I will be out in the streaming streets this week looking for a quarterback. So Derek Carr to me is your QB1 streamer wise. The second guy I have this week is Geno Smith at home against Miami. He's only 34% rostered. He's the QB9 after 2 weeks. He's at home against a Miami team that has to travel all the way across the country after a brutal loss. Last week, Geno Smith threw 327 yards without Ken Walker. He may not be there again, so fire up Geno. Why not at home? That's number 2 there. Justin, you look like you had something to say now.
Oh no, I'm all about both of these actually.
Okay, cool.
Carr looks fantastic in this new offense, and so does Geno Smith.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Third guy, don't love as much. Sam Darnold against Houston. He is 14% rostered. Sam Darnold's a QB10 after 2 weeks. Not sure anyone would have thunk that one, but here we are. Houston last season was 30th in adjusted fantasy points allowed. And then in week 1, they let Anthony Richardson throw 2 touchdowns and run 1 in. Last week they played Caleb Williams, so but I think that Darnold is one of those we need to kind of monitor. If Jefferson is a go, which it looks like he is, I think Darnold's fine there as your 3rd option. And then I brought a bonus just because some leagues are deeper, whatnot. Gardner Minshew, another guy not expected to really be all right, but he's been all right. He's thrown for over 250 yards and a touchdown in each game so far. The Panthers have given up 73 points in their first 3 games. I'm sorry, 2 games. 73 points in their first 2 games. Not great. Gardner doesn't have this enormous ceiling or anything, but I think he's fine. Like if you're in a league where there's no Carr, there's no Geno, there's no Darnold, Minshew's there, he'll get you through. So those are my 4 quarterbacks. Any thoughts, Justin?
No, I like him. I think I would put him probably in that exact order too. If Jefferson's fine. If Jefferson seems limited, I don't think I would touch Darnold, but it sure seems like he's going to be 100% by kickoff.
If there's no Jefferson, I mean, they're looking at Naylor. Like
Addison's out.
It could be ugly. But
Josh Oliver.
Yeah, I mean, according to Jefferson himself, it's just a little bruise, so he should be fine. So hopefully he will be. Let's before more questions, let's do some tight ends just to kind of keep it rolling a little bit.
Sure.
Why don't you tell us who you brought for streaming tight ends this week?
Yeah, as mentioned at the top, tight end is still pretty gross, but there's some intriguing options this week. We'll lead off with Hunter Henry. Last week, 12 targets, He's up to 15 targets on the year. He's got something like a 27% target share in this offense. And this is like one of the opportunities we thought heading into the season. Their wide receiver room didn't look good. They added a couple rookies. We kind of questioned how they would be involved in the offense early in the season. And for good reason. They're not out there like Jalen Polk is not earning this 20% target share. Javon Baker's not is completely out of the offense at this point. With how much pressure the Patriots are allowing, Jacoby Brissett doesn't have an option but to just keep it near the line of scrimmage. Nearly 65% of his pass attempts have come with 9 or fewer air yards under them. So Hunter's getting a lot of those. He had a dud of a first week. Then he came out last week, 8 reception, 109-yard game, which would have been, I think he was the tight end 2, if not the tight end 1 on the week. I think he makes another good stream here on Thursday night. It is the Jets defense, which is going to be tough, but that could also mean that Brissett keeps throwing the ball 5 yards down the field, which is where Hunter Henry reigns.
God, it's scary that's where we are in this landscape, that like Hunter Henry is like the coveted streamer for the week.
The must have, right?
I mean, he's so brutal as far as a week to week start, right? No one wants to deal with that.
Right.
But here we are.
Look, it gets grosser too.
Oh, I'm sure. That's why I said it's sad that he's the cream of the crop. What do you got next?
I have someone who I've been fading for most of his career, including this offseason. But I have Cole Kmet here. And it is even a little bit of a cheat. He is rostered in 45% of Yahoo leagues. We try to cut it off at 40. But there are 20 tight ends owned in more than 40% of leagues right now, because people keep rotating guys in, hoping that someone is going to hit. No one's hitting. Kmet could be that guy. I'm not in love with it, but we did hear Shane Waldron mention heading into week 2 that he wants to get Cole Kmet on the field more often, get him more involved in the offense. That's exactly what happened. His offensive snaps rose from 27 to 54 over the 2 weeks. His route participation jumped up from a paltry 27% to a 47%. And more importantly, he earned 5 targets last week as opposed to his minuscule 1 in week 1. I certainly don't love it, but the Colts have allowed the 4th highest passer rating and the 4th highest EPA per dropback on the season. And that was with Malik Willis playing them last week. So maybe Caleb Williams looks a little better this week. Maybe Cole Kmet can be worth something. I don't love it, but he's a name. He's a person.
No, he's a body. He's warm. He's one of those hold your nose and just do it.
Yeah.
If you have to.
I'll roll through the rest of these a little quicker for my deeper plays. Mike Gesicki is available in 95% of leagues. The tight ends just earned the most yards ever in a Bengals game with Joe Burrow as the quarterback. So they're leaning on the tight ends a little bit more. A lot of this hinges on whether or not T. Higgins plays. If T. Higgins is a full go, I'm probably not going to mess with Mike Gesicki. But if Higgins is once again sidelined, I think he's an interesting play. Zach Ertz is very much not an interesting play, but I think he has one of the highest floors among these woebegone tight ends. Jaden Daniels is using him as the safety valve. Ben Sinnott is lining up as a fullback more than he's lining up as a tight end. And I think that'll stay the course until the second half of his rookie season. And then one more guy I had to throw in because you and I have talked about him in the past, at least. I'm going to Greg Dulcich.
Wow.
He had 8 targets last week. He caught like 3 of them for like 12 yards. I'm not even going to look it up. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But kind of the same way with Hunter Henry, there is no one on the Broncos offense that they trust. They're not playing Marvin Mims. They're not playing any of their rookie wide receivers. Vele missed last week. He could miss again this week. Greg Dulcich is an interesting guy to at least roster if you don't feel comfortable starting him, which I understand why you wouldn't. He hasn't scored fantasy points for about 2 years now.
I don't know if he ever has.
Yeah. As a rookie, he kind of messed around, but he also
got
missed
a few decent games, and then he got hurt, and it's just been a carousel of that.
So I think Dulcich is an interesting hold if you have deep benches or if you're in a a tight end heavy league setting.
All right, you heard it here first. Greg Dulcich, tight end 1, week 3. No, I'm kidding. But
It's possible,
yes, thank you for those. Listen, you just brought 5 names into the mix for people that are hurting at tight end, which is pretty much
which is all of us.
everybody. Even the people that paid up and bought Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews and Sam Laporta, they're all hurting. Everybody. It's a collective situation in the fantasy community. All right, let's take some questions, shall we?
Okay.
Where do we leave off here? With Terry
I got
R.
this
I
one.
added Akers and news on Mixon.
The
I
last
saw. Go ahead.
unless you saw something different. Last I saw was the injury isn't, but I don't think he had the MRI yesterday. They made a statement that it wasn't serious, but they really didn't say anything about whether he's going to miss time or if he's playing this week or not.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. Not long term. D'Amico Ryans is hush on the week 3 situation. I think adding Akers is not a bad idea anyway. I mean, Damian Pierce is hurt. Akers wasn't fantastic. I believe he fumbled last week, but he did some decent things. And Akers has shown us in the past that he is a decent running back. So if Mixon is out this week, I mean, it might not be the worst. I don't know. I mean, they're playing Minnesota, correct? So yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent ad regardless, and just kind of hang out and see what happens. Okay, Terry has another question here. Which defense should I start week 3, Bucks or Buffalo?
Tampa Bay has that Broncos offense, and then Buffalo has Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I feel like I would go with the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo, I believe, is probably the better defense overall, but
Right.
you just can't beat that Bo Nix led Broncos offense to
It's not
tee
looking
off
good.
on at home. I think the Bucks are probably the way to go there. Excuse me. All right, let's take one more here. Mark Folkman, would you trade Jamison Williams for Xavier Worthy? Half PPR.
I kind of really like Jamison Williams.
Yeah, I don't know if that really makes sense for either of you. I don't really like a 1-for-1 same position. I mean,
They
I
kind of
guess
both
unless
offer the same thing too. It's like they will probably
right.
have duds, and they will both have like big explosive weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jamison Williams is off to a hot start, which is encouraging, and Worthy. He's in an offense that is they're going to rotate who it's going to be, right? It's going to be Rice one week, it's going to be Worthy one week. They are down Isaiah Pacheco, so I don't know if that throws a little bit of a wrench in the whole offensive situation and where it's going to be distributed. Probably not, as far as the wide receiver goes. So, I don't. I mean, if you're the Jameson person, I would just stay put. Like, I don't know that you're getting anything better there. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Let's go one more. Would you drop Pittman for Pierce, full PPR? I mean, they're both kind of in the same situation.
Right. We
They
talk about
both.
Dameon Pierce.
Oh, I thought it was Alec. Well, maybe.
Oh, Alec Pierce.
I don't know.
I don't
Actually,
think I would do either of those,
yeah.
actually.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I don't like Pittman that much this season, but
if you don't like Pittman, you don't like Pierce either. So
yeah,
I feel like it's kind of, yeah, I would just hang on to Pittman. If it's Damian Pierce, no. Actually, it's no either way for me.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to everybody's favorite, right? We're going to do kickers. Yes.
Let's do it.
Nobody's favorite but me and maybe like one other person. But if you are streaming kickers, this is actually a very good week. It's funny. I did this show with Brandon Niles for many years, and it's like in his brain, he was always like, is this a good week? Like that was his thing. So
Yeah.
it just kind of went in my head, like, is this a good week it is a good week for streaming kickers. There are many options. I actually had to force myself to limit the lists. So I'm sure one of the guys that I'm not including here will go off, but they are all in my kicker article on 4for4. So you guys go check that out. Excuse me. The first kicker that I'm going to throw out this week is Blake Groupie. Once again, the high-flying New Orleans Saints offense also produces a productive kicker there. So Blake Groupie at home against the Eagles. He is kicker 4 on the season right now. He is at home in the Dome. I'm sorry, he's only 6% rostered at the moment, so he is free in 94% of Yahoo leagues. Right now, the Saints are 1.5-point favorites. Which, if you told me that heading into the season that the Saints would be favored over the Eagles by 1.5 points, I think we would have all kind of laughed at that. But here we are. They are 1.5-point favorites with a 25.5 point team total. So Groupie is my number one option there. Second guy, I'm going to continue to say his name until either he's over 40% rostered or Detroit stops scoring points. But Jake Bates, he is only 21% rostered still. He is on the road in Arizona. The Lions have the second highest team total of the week right now at 27.25, and they are favored by a field goal. So once again, Jake Bates. I think week one he wasn't fantastic. He did score double-digit fantasy points this week though, or last week. So I think he's set up again pretty nicely for week 3. The third guy, we've talked about this game quite a bit, but I'm going to throw him out here, and that is Chase McLaughlin. At home against the Broncos. He is only 5% rostered right now. Chase McLaughlin is kicker 6 right now on the season. He's averaging 12.5 fantasy points a week through 2 weeks. They're at home against the struggling Broncos. They are favored by 6.5 with a 23-point team total. And then I brought one more for us. Like I said, I could have brought about 3 or 4, but I had to narrow it down. I narrowed it down to Jason Myers at home. In the home of the 12s there against the Dolphins. Like I said, the Dolphins have to travel all the way across after a really brutal loss. Myers is only 10% rostered. The Seahawks are 5.5-point favorites with a 23.5-point team total. So those are 4 kickers. Like I said, I've got about maybe 2 or 3 more in my article there if those guys are not available. But most of them are, under 10%. 3 out of 4 are under 10% rostered. So
it's a very good week. There's plenty to choose from.
There's plenty. And there's, like I said, there's even a few more. So those are the kickers in that realm for streaming this week. Let's get back to a few questions here.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Justin. Our friend Jay Lizard here. I like Irving. Oh, that's not a question. Oh, we were talking about the running backs before.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was just commenting on that question.
Yeah.
Another comment on the question. Okay. We have a question here from Raman Singh. Okay. I have Dowdle, Antonio Gibson, Bucky Irving, and Colby Parkinson on my bench. Who do I drop to get Carson Steele / Samaje Perine? Well, Justin, I'm going to let you answer first, and then I'll see if I agree with you.
Oh, for sure. I'm dropping Colby Parkinson. I think he's still in a good spot. He's worth rostering on deep benches. There's not a lot of people to throw the ball to in Los Angeles, but the Rams might have to pack it in here. They have like 7 of their starting 11.
I don't think that's an option, Justin.
Well, like 80% of their offense is on the sideline this week and maybe for a couple more weeks. So drop Parkinson. I like his opportunity. Are we going to miss out on like a 20-point explosion? I don't think so. And then if you need a tight end later on, you can just find our tight end streaming article and there will be options. So I would rather take the upside of the Chiefs running back than a tight end in a terrible offense. What could be a terrible offense.
Right. I was going to say the same thing. Clearly we don't know who your other if Parkinson's your only tight end, then I guess just pick up one of the streamers that Justin just mentioned or check out the article. If he's your second one, it's very clear. But yeah, I think that I think Dowdle, Gibson, and Irving have enough upside that I wouldn't drop any of them. I think they're all So to me, it's Parkinson. Okay. Any thoughts on? We got Jay Lizard. Any thoughts on Andy Dalton taking the reins against the surprisingly hot Raiders?
The Red Rifle. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson is about to score fantasy points for the first time.
I'm so happy because I have him everywhere.
Right.
So that's exciting. It's exciting for people that hung on to Chuba Hubbard. I know a lot of people probably dropped him and are going to try to pick him back up this week. It's one of those. But yeah, I think they're in a better spot. Whether or not they can perform at a level that people want them to, as far as, be like from a real football perspective and like beat the Raider, I don't know about that. But I think for the fantasy pieces, I think we're all in a little bit of a better spot. People that invested in Deontay Johnson and even people that have Adam Thielen, like ancillary parts. I don't know if I would call the Raiders surprisingly hot, but maybe they've been all right. But yeah, I think Dalton. I mean, I don't know if you're asking as far as like as
I'm
Dalton
not starting
himself.
Andy Dalton.
Right. I was just going to say I did not include him in my QB streamers. He's not somebody I would start for fantasy football purposes, but I do think he makes the pieces better
Right.
for us moving forward. And I think it was the right call by Carolina to make that move. Okay. Become supernatural. Would you trade Puka for Jaden Reed and Zach Moss?
Yeah, absolutely. Puka might not be back until week 10.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, Jordan Love will be back and Jaden Reed is healthy and Zach Moss they're both healthy. So, I mean, clearly we don't know exactly what you have going on the rest of your squad, but just in a vacuum like that, I would.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let us roll on to defenses, shall we?
Okay. Yeah. I've got 4 listed here. I think the first 2 are probably in their own, just based on their quarterback matchup. I have the Packers here playing in Tennessee. Will Levis keeps making insane plays and is getting called out on the sideline by his head coach. Levis has 5 turnovers through 2 weeks. I think he's a safe bet to continue doing that. He doesn't look incredibly comfortable in very important game situations through 2 weeks. He's a pretty paltry, every counting stat is pretty paltry here. I think he could absorb some sacks. I think he could turn the ball over, and it creates a floor for the Packers defense. The Colts look like they have the same kind of matchup here against Caleb Williams. I'm pretty sure they have DeForest Buckner back heading into week 3. The defensive line could take care of a pretty porous offensive line situation. Caleb Williams has taken 9 sacks through 2 weeks, and a lot of that is on his own as well. His pressure to sack ratio is, his pressure to sack rate is 31%. So about a third of every pressure he sees, he falls on the ground, which is a pretty good thing. Pretty good thing to bet against. He himself also has 3 turnovers through 2 weeks of action. The offenses look very porous. I would probably aim for the Colts everywhere you can. And then if they're taken, I would take the Packers. Kind of a similar situation where aiming at another rookie quarterback with the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 20% rostered in Yahoo leagues. They host the Commanders on Monday night. They get a rookie quarterback. They get a pretty porous offensive line. They're against the passing attack that doesn't look strong, at least quite yet. So the Bengals are another option here if the first couple of teams are gone. And then we also have the Bucs defense, which we already mentioned. They're playing the Broncos. Again, we're attacking rookie quarterbacks, and the Broncos look pretty dismal. So Packers, Colts, Bengals, Buccaneers. And I'd put it in the order of Colts, Packers, Bucks, Bengals. I think that's how I would put them.
Listen, that's you get there's some options. We like that.
Yeah.
It's tough. Some weeks you're grasping at straws to come up with anything. Like you said, these rookie quarterbacks are easy to target, and at least through 2 weeks, it's proving to be a good strategy.
Right. Yeah.
So here we are. I like it. All right. So those are all of our streaming positions here. We will keep rolling with some questions. I lost my place, so here I am.
I've got Josh here.
Okay, yeah. Here we go. Josh, I need to start 2. T. Higgins, Brian Robinson, Amari Cooper, Tank Dell, Rashad White. Which do I start?
It kind of pains me because I faded him a lot, but I think Brian Robinson is probably a start. He's getting a lot of usage. Eckler's getting usage too. They're just kind of running the offense through their running backs and Zach Ertz, and that's why we're streaming against them this week.
Yeah, I mean, T. Higgins is still a question mark, so
yeah,
we
still
have
a question mark.
Kind of have to wait
Rashad
and see.
White.
Right. And then Amari Cooper and Tank Dell.
They're kind of middling there. The team keeps talking about the connection between Watson and Amari, maybe this is the week where they're like, look, just give him 12 targets and see what happens.
Right.
Maybe he'll make you look like an NFL quarterback again.
Something needs to happen there. Like I said, fire up Jameis. I'm ready.
Yeah, right.
Jameis actually got in last week on a play. I didn't see it.
He ran for a first down, I think.
Yeah,
I think it was like a 4th and 1. I watched so much football, I forgot.
So I'm in this points per first down league with a bunch of industry people, and I was playing Andy Barron's on a completely separate note. I lost on the final Jalen Hurts interception to Andy Barron's last night. Yes, completely devastating, complete pain. But the point is, it's a super flex and it's best ball. So you can't really, you just draft and then you just whatever. And I have Jameis. I just threw him in there as like one of my last picks. And at one point, he was my leading quarterback scorer. I looked at my thing. I'm like, how does, first of all, and he had like 1 point, whatever points, because it's a points per first down league. So Jameis did have some points for a while. He did not remain there, obviously, once my actual quarterbacks played. But anyway, we digress a little bit. But yeah, I'm guessing we both, Brian Robinson and Amari, I guess, is kind of where we are. I mean, Rachaad White, if he's healthy against the Broncos, is not a bad play either. But T. Higgins, it doesn't seem like he's going to be ready. But
I think I would rather just go with Cooper, even if Higgins is ready.
Yeah.
If it looks like, I think Tank Dell's probably a 1 o'clock game, so this doesn't matter. But if it looks like you need like a boom or bust performance, I would go Dell over Amari Cooper. But I think just straight up, I'd rather have Amari Cooper in my lineup.
Yeah, I don't hate that. All right. Let's move on to cash money.
Here we go.
All right. Good morning. Would you trade Kyren Williams for Alvin Kamara? Starlight up.
Straight up.
Yeah, no, I know. I assume that was not correct. I'm like, what are you typing? If straight it changes it to Starlight, I'd love to know what you're talking about there, Cash Money. I have Gibbs and Mason as well already. I'm worried about the Rams offense. Well, as we discussed earlier, you should be worried about the Rams offense.
Right.
I mean, Alvin Kamara is looking really good, but is it sustainable? Not sure. We don't know if the whole Saints offense is sustainable at this point, but I don't hate it, honestly.
Right.
Especially
if you would have asked me 3 days ago, I would have been like, absolutely not. And now it's like, dang, this whole offensive line is injured.
Right. And you have Gibbs and Mason already. So I feel like you're not screwing yourself by going thin, by getting rid of Williams. So yeah, I would do it.
If Kamara is going to keep getting 20 opportunities a game, he's going to be a top 5 running back for the rest of the season. So
yeah, I believe he has. Yeah, I think he's averaging 22 touches a game right now. So yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Kendre Miller.
Yeah, well, he's out, right? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna. I think he's coming back.
He's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, like week 5, and he's not gonna have a role.
No, he's not. But he was already in the doghouse anyway for just continuing to be injured. They weren't very happy with him during the and I know that's rough, right? You can't get mad at a player for getting injured, but reports came out that they were. So, all right, KJ Frederick.
I can knock this out real quick. It's definitely Henry.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says Henry. What if I say Gesicki? I'm just kidding. Everyone knows that I'm not a Gesicki fan. It's an inside joke around the 4for4 office that Gesicki is not Gen approved. So
not Gen approved.
No, he's not Gen approved. So yeah, no, Hunter Henry, I agree though. Based on matchup. And like Justin and I talked about 20 minutes ago, he's a brutal play every week. Like you're not, to sit there and decide whether to put him in or not. But if you're just talking this week, Hunter Henry, full PPR, yes. Okay, Denzel Barrett, would you drop Austin Eckler for Deontay Foreman?
I don't think so. I think Eckler's going to continue to get this type of run as a receiving back.
Agree. I would keep Eckler in that offense for me as well. All right, moving on to Toby. Lost Cup, so I'm forced to start either Pittman versus the Bears with an erratic Richardson or Deontay at Vegas with the triumphant return of the Red Rifle, half PPR. I kind of like.
So Deontay or Pittman? I'd rather have Deontay.
I would too. I'm like whispering it, but no, really, I would.
It's gross, but I'm not. No joke. I honestly think Dalton is just going to pepper him.
Yeah, I mean, he really. I agree, and I think that what we've seen, it's interesting. We talked about last week, right? Week 1. I mean, Anthony Richard after that one touchdown. I mean, people were fitting him for the jacket. And then last week was ugly. So I am interested to see which Anthony Richardson shows up this week.
Right.
But we know who Andy Dalton is, and we know he's going to get in there and get things done that we're not getting done. So yeah, I like Deontay.
Let's go. Red
All
Rifle.
right, next one, Whittier Mambacitas.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Zach Moss, Dobbins, or Diggs at flex this week.
Oh man,
That's
I mean,
tough.
I think the answer is Zach Moss, but you could convince me that it's actually J.K. Dobbins. The guy is going insane. You'd love to see it.
No, you do, and we knew the Chargers were gonna do what they're doing, and we still
They're doing
didn't.
exactly
We
what they
still
said they
didn't
would do.
draft enough J.K. Dobbins.
I was just talking about this last night. I'm like, even in my like best ball portfolio, I probably have like 2 Dobbins, and they were like 18th round. Like, all right, fine. And now I'm like, oh, I wish I had about 80% J.K. Dobbins.
And we sat here all summer and talked about how the Chargers were going to do nothing but run the ball, and yet we somehow still are underweight on J.K. Dobbins. But like you said, you're thinking Moss.
I'm thinking Moss, but I could be talked out of it pretty easily.
But Diggs is an interest. I mean, Diggs is no slouch either, right?
I know.
So that's a very tough decision. I wonder. I don't know if format, whether it's standard, half, or full PPR, may have something to do with that. Give you something to differentiate that, but that is a tough question.
I'll stick with Moss. Come back. Hit me up on Twitter when Stephon Diggs scores 35 points, and I'll talk to you.
All right, Will Hayes. Should I trade Jackson Smith and Jigba and Alexander Madison for DJ Moore and Tajay Spears? And he's got DJ Moore in all caps.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore is probably the best player in this scenario, right? So I'd rather just have the side with DJ Moore.
Yeah.
The Bears offense does look like crap.
They do, and JSN looks pretty good.
He does. What did he get, like 14 targets last week?
Yeah. I mean, Alexander Madison is kind of the throwaway here. Like, Alexander Madison is fine right now, but we know who Alexander Madison is, and it's not like he's going to be great for the remainder of the season.
If Zamir White goes down, he's just going to take Zamir White's role, which isn't good.
Right. And then they have rookie Dylan Lobb there that, has at least over, during the offseason had showed things that made us think that he might steal that role anyway from Madison. So, yeah, I guess DJ Moore and Spears side, but I do like JSN.
Yeah.
And Spears is a little bit banged up as well. But yeah, I guess, like you said, if you're looking at the best player in the mix, and that's DJ Moore, so you want that side.
That's what I would go with.
I would maybe not. I don't know. we disagree. Right? We disagree. Yeah. I like JSN. But yeah, I mean, it's more of an emotional thing. I mean, DJ Moore, like you said, is the better player, and he is really the best player in that offense, which is kind of struggling. If they don't bring it back, then I would keep JSN. But I don't know if you want to wait a week on that. Okay, should we keep going here? What time is it? Like,
how many can we rapid fire in like?
All right, let's yeah, because
I can do it.
If they're easier and not babbling.
Okay, here we go. Let's go with this one.
Okay, flex, full PPR, Jameson, DJ Moore, Charbonnet. Oh, that's not easy. Or Brian Robinson Jr. Wow.
I'm going back to Moore.
You're picking
I really think Caleb Williams can stop, crap in the bed.
He could. You've got Jameson Williams against Arizona. You've got Charbonnet at home against Miami. This is not
a good team.
Yeah, this is not a rapid fire, and you only have to start one.
I'm saying DJ Moore.
I'm saying maybe Brian Robinson Jr. I guess, right. Yeah, I will agree with you, DJ Moore, just to make it easier, but I don't hate the rest of your options, which is good for you, but kind of sucks. All right, moving on. We already had that one, right? The same exact question: Moss, Dobbins, or Diggs? Is that even like?
No, it's
What
the
are the?
same one. I pulled up this one though.
No, I know, but it's a different person. Like, what are the odds of that? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh well, it's Zach
Um,
Moss.
What? Okay. Brees Hall owner, should I use my number 2 waiver priority to pick up Handcuff Allen? He had 20 points, 2 touchdowns, or save the 2 for a future week. Don't need receivers.
I like it.
Uh, yeah. I mean, if you feel like your team could just use him as far as a handcuff, I'm not one to usually handcuff my players, but in this case, if you don't really need anybody else, yeah, I don't hate getting Allen. Someone else is going to get him. So if you really want him, just get him now. If you feel okay with the rest of your running back room, then I would wait and save it for a future week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
No, I'm not trying to be short. I 100% agree.
Okay.
All right, one more.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, let's
there's a
do this
bunch
one.
more, but okay. ETN or ride the hot hand with Dobbins? Ooh.
I love that.
I
What a
do
good
love that.
question.
It is a good
Dobbins.
question. Yeah, me
Give me
too.
Dobbins.
Give me
Screw it.
Dobbins. Yeah, the Jaguars are just kind of gross right now. I'm in on Dobbins.
Yeah.
That's
This is when he pulls up lame in the second quarter.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we know it's going to happen at some point, but we're in week 3. He seems healthy. He seems to be
He's averaging like 10 yards a carry, and it's over like 23 carries. So it's not like just a 3 someone this has nothing to do with anything. Someone gave me pushback about not enjoying Chase Brown the other day. Like he averaged 7 yards a carry. Like he had 3 carries.
right. What is it? Yeah,
What are
I
we
mean,
doing?
enjoy those 3 points. What is that going to do for you as far
Anyways,
as winning teams? All right, are we done? Do you want to I mean, I feel bad. It's like these people are here asking questions, but we can't be here forever.
well, here,
Can you drop AD Mitchell? Yeah, I would drop AD Mitchell. I mean, it depends, of course, on what else you're doing, but in a vacuum, yeah, that offense, I just don't know that they can support him as well.
All right, here's one. One running back, one flex. Brian Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Worthy, JSN, and Brock Bowers. Full point first down.
Okay, need one running back, one flex. Okay, so you're deciding between Robinson and Dobbins.
Probably
right?
Robinson.
Yeah. Like you said, he's definitely getting that usage. So yes. And then as far as the flex, Worthy, JSN, and Brock, full PPR, 1 point for first downs.
Why do I kind of want to say Bowers? Maybe
Well, I want to say Bowers.
I'm so sick of these bad tight ends. It's so nice to see a good one.
Yeah, I want to say Bowers. So let's just both say Bowers.
Let's say Bowers. Screw it.
Yeah, let's do it. I think he's especially. I mean, points for first down. Like he's the guy there,
right?
For that. So I don't have. Yeah, I'm down with
All
that.
right, let's get out of here.
All right, we're getting out. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. We're here every Tuesday, 12 Eastern, to go over the week streamers and answer your questions. In the meantime, you can hit up Justin on Twitter/X at Justin R. Wait, isn't there an underscore somewhere?
There's
in your
an underscore before the R.
His is wrong. His is wrong. So just ignore that. Justin _Redwords. I am at Jen Akins NFL. You guys enjoy week 3. Have a wonderful rest of your day.